What's going on, beach anglers? Episode 5 of What's Happening Surf Fishing. Sorry for the delay in this one. I have been a little under the weather. I haven't had a voice. I've recovered enough of it. I believe I can get through this episode, so let's dive right into it. How to adjust your tactics for the spring pompano run. This is not a question that has come in through the comments section. It's one that I felt everybody would benefit from. Within the next month, we are going to be hot and heavy into a full-fledged run of pompano here on the Gulf Coast, guys. And tactics need to be adjusted. We're going to be coming out of the days of running these 6-7 rod spreads. We're going to have longer periods of catching and not downtime. And there's going to be more elements out on the beach to be aware of. So let's start with your rod spread, guys. I'm not saying leave all the rods at the house. You only need to fish 2 rods. Bring all your gear with you. Why? Because we have to find fish. There's a big misconception with bystanders on the beach and surf fishing that we are fishing 6 and 7 rods because we're catching 6 and 7 fish at a time. That is not the case. We are trying to find fish. Our spread, our rods, are our fish finders. We do not have the luxury of electronics on the beach. So the more lines we can get out in different distances, different bait options, and even bead and float color, we can find where those fish are running and what they're tuned in on for that moment. And it is moment by moment, guys. Just because this was working today does not mean it's going to work tomorrow in the exact same location. So just like always, bring your spread, get a few out deep, some up close, some in the middle. Sand fleas, ghost shrimp, regular shrimp, OP bait soaked shrimp, fish gum. Get all your bait choices on there. I have a good rule of thumb of once I get 3 catches on one rod, that one hot rod, then whatever's going on with that rod as far as distance and what's hanging from it is what they are tuned in on. So during the run, guys, we're dealing with a lot of fish coming by at fast speeds. So if I tune those fish in and then I put all 6 lines with that same bait at that same distance with that same flow color, and I do get 6 fish hooked up at once, I can't manage that. It's going to be a complete disaster. The birds are going to start swooping in with the flopping fish on the beach. Now you have tangled lines, tangled birds, screaming tourists. It's just not a good scene. Once I tune those guys in, I'm fishing 2 rods. If I'm running a trip, 3. The name of the game at that point is to get that fish in, get him unhooked in the bucket, and get it baited up and right back out in the same spot. You're going to catch more fish that way in that school than you would by having 6 rods. You can only manage so many. Those fish are going to run on you. They're going to run from side to side on you. I'd say an average pompano fight for me is probably around a minute. From when that rod goes off, I grab it. You can say you're going to be there for about 60 seconds getting that guy in. Then you still got to get him unhooked, get him in a secure location where the birds aren't going to get him, get your line and the hooks off the sand so nobody steps on them. And now you're off to your second rod and you still got 4 more going off. It ain't going to happen. You're going to lose a lot of fish. It's going to be a complete mess. So rule number 1 for me during that spring run is find fish, reduce rods, and fish 2 or 3 setups effectively instead of 6 rods disastrously. Birds. The birds are just as excited as we are for the spring run, guys. They've been hunting down food all winter, starving. Now there's clean, crystal clear water, bright skies, and fish everywhere. The birds are going to be cruising and they're going to be diving, which is great, right? Unless you got 6 lines out. This is the time of year, guys, to really start paying attention what's flying down the beach. And if you're an experienced surf angler, you know exactly what I'm talking about. These huge flocks of birds that are cruising low. They're either coming east or west. They're hanging low. They're all in formation. They're looking for those schools just like we are. When I see those guys coming, what I will do is take my rods out of the sand spike and then lean them at a lower angle on the sand spike. I'm not trying to reel them up before the birds get them. I'm just dropping that line down. That will save you guys 99% of the time. And plus, by you doing that one after the other, it's going to give those birds something to key in on. They're going to see it. If you can get those lines lower, you have a lot less chance of those birds hitting the line. Spring break 93, baby. I got the tattoo to prove I was there. Panama City. We are going to be sharing the beach, guys. It is that time of the year. And it's okay, right? Especially for guys like me who run my business off of our visitors. I welcome them with open arms. I love seeing that traffic backed up over here. But it can get crowded and it can get heated. Avoid the condos, guys. That's the best way to do this. And if your beaches are like mine, the best spots around here are usually in front of the condos. We get those spots all winter long, guys. Once it hits mid-March, I'm done. Let them have it. All the run-ins that I've had on the beach while surf fishing, the you can't fish here run-ins, they have never been with a local. It's always visitors, and it's not their fault. A lot of these high-rises will advertise private beach in their listings. You book this $8,000 a night condo right here facing the Gulf and you get this private beach. And guys, they want that beach. And this is usually how it goes. I'm fishing, they come out, they ask me if I'm staying there. I say no, and they say, well, you can't be here. And in years past, I would argue law, I would call the law. I went through that stage of my surf fishing career where I was right, you were wrong, and I wasn't gonna budge. I'm over that now, guys. I just avoid it. What's gonna happen is if those interactions keep happening and arguments are happening and the police are called, then eventually they're just gonna shut down surf fishing. They are not gonna shut down the tourist industry. They're gonna say, hey, you scrubbies out there on the beach, you guys can't do this anymore. It's causing too many issues. You guys contribute about this much to our total annual income, and the tourist industry contributes this much. Guess who's getting the cut, guys? Avoid the condos, guys. Fish the state parks, fish the national seashores. The vacationers are gonna fish those spots, and that's okay, because that condo is not gonna say anything to them. They will say something to us. Spring run, it is time for profiles, guys. We gotta give them something to look at. There could be 100 Pompano in that school, all cruising at a steady speed. You gotta give them something to key in on. I'm not saying there's not gonna be certain days where, yeah, you do wanna fish some lighter tackle, but those are gonna be fewer and far in between. Beef it up, give them something to look at. These guys are gonna be strong. They are fighters during the run. All the dropping leader tactics, eliminating floats, eliminating beads, going naked hooks, right? Those are finicky bite times. During the run, the bite more than likely is just gonna happen. Watch the other anglers to the right or left of you because there's gonna be a lot of them. If they're hooking up and you're not, figure out why. This is not the time to necessarily change your tactics as far as dropping leader sizes and eliminating floats. Now in a different season, yes, but not during the run. Those other anglers have a certain bait on or a certain color that those fish are keying in on. Try to figure out what that is before you start dropping down to like 12-pound fluorocarbon. In my experience, most surf fishermen are very forthcoming with information. Like if you're a seasoned surf angler, like you know there's plenty out there for everybody. And last but not least, guys, this is the time, this is the season for jigs. Throwing pompano jigs, goofy jigs, banana jigs, whatever you want to call them. This is the time to do it. Why? Because again, there's 100 fish in that school. You have a lot better chance of slinging these out there and catching a pompano during this time of the year than you would, let's say, in winter or summer. There's just a lot more fish. Throwing jigs at resident pompano is tough. Instead of that school of 40, you have a school of 4. If you want to catch one on a jig, like that is your mission this spring, wait till the set rigs start going off, pull those lines up and immediately start throwing a jig. You're more than likely gonna get one. Why? Because that school is in front of you. And catching pompano like this on light tackle is an absolute blast, guys. I hope that was helpful, and I know you guys are just as excited as I am for this. It's been a long winter, like unusually long for me. But we've kept ourselves busy and we got through it, guys. And now we're here, temps are warming up. I'm seeing the traffic pull in here daily. We are at the borderline of season. The upper limit month-long tournament has launched. Details for our 3-day The Pompano Showdown are on our website. That will be April 4th, 5th, and 6th. We're also putting a month-long in the 30A area that will kick off mid-April and run through mid-May. Dates for our fall events and next spring events will be announced during the showdown in April. We already have all that figured out, guys, to give you guys ample time for planning, booking, traveling, things like that. The shop is going to go through a transition this week. We will be moving this shop around, building some outside structures, add a little bit more space to the actual location of the shop here, guys. Make it look more like a storefront. And we have some new services out of the shop that'll be launching this spring too. So you guys stay tuned for that. As always, guys, thank you for the support. Leave some comments what you would like to learn about regarding surf fishing in the comments. If I feel enough people might have that same question, then we'll do an episode on it. See you guys on the next one.